When we first stepped into the Lever House, we felt really welcomed and touched by the warmth of your spirit. We were enthused with the time you invested in us.
Mr. Sundaram was never busy for his people. The meeting time used to eat into his lunch time, into his evening time, but we all got time. We used to say we want 5 minutes, but when the meeting started, it was half an hour, 45 minutes, and we always came back happier than we had gone inside the room.
I would really be surprised to say if there is any other business leader in the company who would virtually know every single commercial employee by the name, and more than that, track how they are performing, have a point of view on where they can do well, where they are doing well, where they can do better, and gives a continuous feedback through various sources.
My first meeting with Mr. Sundaram was, of course, my job interview, and I distinctly remember being grilled, barbecued, fried, roasted, stirred, but at the end of it all, I was completely elated.
He never forgets a name or a face, and I think that's very rare in leaders in an organization of this size.
We felt secure, very confident that we could seek always your advice and that you would lead us towards the right path.
Whether it's in terms of giving me confidence in my ability at every stage, whether it is in a subtle way preparing me for my next move or assignment, whether it was in terms of giving me an understanding into a broader perspective and an understanding of the larger organization, I think in many ways he's had a significant impact on me.
He has a passion for teaching. He's taught in some premier institutions. So any interaction that you have with him, he also tries to coach you and lead you in the direction in which it is more appropriate for you.
The one factor which really stands apart Mr. Sundaram is his thought leadership. He is always ahead of time. He can see through and think ahead. And some of the things that we have done in HUL under his leadership, be it in the area of IBP or DMUU or cutting edge IT technologies, migration into SAP, is some of the examples of his thought leadership that has pervaded across the finance function.
He said something which makes a lot of sense. He says that it's not about you, it is about the number of people who are actually looking up to you. He said, remember how they would look at you and how they would feel. So if you allow your shoulders to drop, you're not only dropping your shoulders, but you're taking the complete function down with you.
And I could see the qualities which he has brought to the job and the quality of caring for the people who are working with him and how he leads his team. And that is really very, very impressive.
Mr. Sundaram mentors you, counsels you, and gives you the right advice at the right point in time, makes you see things in the right perspective, and it really matters.
Each of our interactions would expose us to new pastures of knowledge, transforming our discussions into spontaneous learning sessions.
The sheer experience of interacting with him was itself a learning process. The perspectives that he could come to, the details he could get into, the macro picture he could paint for all of us, that in itself was something which was quite amazing.
Personally, whenever I have had interacted with Mr. Sundaram, it's always been a huge learning experience. I remember in my first interaction with him, he said that the one thing which stands apart people is passion. And I think that passion has stayed on with him all his life, and he has passed on that passion to some of us.
A very passionate man, extremely knowledgeable on a variety of topics, knows his people very well, extremely well connected to the entire team.
Every interaction with Mr. Sundaram leaves you more energized and motivated. The sheer passion that reflects in whatever he says is simply unparalleled.
You got us to discover what we were really capable of achieving and inspired us to scale new heights and explore new seas of thought.
Sundaram's coaching style is one where he brings himself down to my level, and even before I have said most of my piece, he has comprehended what I am about to say and has already found the solution, but he will nevertheless work with me and get me to get to a decision point which at the end of the discussion I would feel was my decision.
He said me one thing: you can get extraordinary results from extraordinary people in the team. But the test of leadership, of true capability, is if you are able to get extraordinary results from ordinary people. That left a deep mark.
Other image which comes to your mind when you talk of Mr. Sundaram is that of a college professor, one who is always willing to guide and show you the path.
The way you nurtured our talents and helped us blossom is something we deeply cherish. The freedom you gave us to grow is unparalleled.
I would say he has all the facets which you would see in a good teacher. A very high commitment to people. He brings in the rigor. He has the ability to capture his thoughts very eloquently and succinctly.
We were going through this whole thing about viability of water long-term plans and proposal to Unilever about launching this on a national scale. We of course had done our homework and spreadsheets and analysis and thousands and millions of data. He simply asked that forget all this, keep your hand on your heart, and if it was your business, would you go ahead with national rollout? And I thought about it and I said yes.
You've coaxed us, trained us, pushed us and mentored us. You made us reach for the pot of gold for Hindustan Unilever at all times.
We were supposed to make a presentation for him, and we really put a lot of efforts behind and made the presentation, and we went in the evening for a review with him. He reviewed the presentation and he mentioned, guys, excellent job. There are some improvement that we will do. As of now, it's on a scale of 1 to 10. He said 1, fantastic, but I'm sure we'll move forward.
He said that we must always try and do the job in such a way that we give our best. He said there may be other people who can do it better than us, but this mentality will make sure that we give the task 110%.
Your sound grooming is revered not just within Hindustan Unilever, but also by our ex-colleagues in the industry who remember you for being the special strength beneath their wings.
I have absolutely no hesitation in saying that I have learnt a great deal from Sundaram. His humility, his giant-sized brain, and his ability to help others are qualities which are rare to find in today's managers.
Sundaram was also thought of as an outstanding teacher to make very complex accounting matters intelligible to operating line managers.
If there is an example of developing a person in his career, I myself is an example. I can say with some pride that when I started interacting with Sundaram, I was a work level 2C manager, and I moved on to really becoming up to work level 4 manager in Hindustan Unilever. Sundaram played a very key contribution in that.
Your wit and humor ripened the enthusiasm and knowledge for finance amongst these professionals.
Professor Sundaram's lectures I never ever wanted to bunk because they were so full of fun, jokes, and more importantly, he explained everything in such a simple manner.
All the basics of cost accounting and costing methods and so really drilled into our minds have stood us all the time that we spent in industry.
Professor Sundaram, thank you very much for all that you taught us, and I'm sure that we've gone ahead in life because of you.
The virtues of good governance have been strongly embedded in us, thanks to you. We will forever flow on the course of transparency in all our actions.
He is leaving behind an outstanding corporate governance framework, which in today's context is a huge achievement. He is leaving behind some of the best world-class finance and IT processes. And most importantly, I think he is leaving behind finance professionals who are willing to take forward his legacy.
Considering that as a function we deal with a lot of confidential information, he upholds the highest standards of corporate governance and confidentiality.
He commands enormous amount of respect internally as well as in external circles.
One thing which was very important to him was the governance. That is something which I have learned from him.
You have shielded us, defended us, and stood up for us always. You have held yourself accountable for all our collective actions.
There was a time in my personal life where I was under a huge personal crisis. The company put out its might and strength and went out to help me. And Mr. Sundaram backed me to the hilt.
Your values and teachings have been beyond finance. They have been instrumental in helping us touch other lives, balance and navigate through winds of change.
His deep knowledge of the Indian scriptures and in particular of Tirukkural has always impressed me tremendously. Sundaram believes in simple living and high thinking, and this is one quality which all of us can imbibe from him, which will make us a better person and a better human being.
The pride that we feel in the value systems, especially as conscience keepers in this organization, is to his credit.
Mr. Sundaram is like one of the pillars. Just in any building, you have a foundation. He is one of the foundation.
Thank you, sir, for everything that you taught us, and all the best for your future.
Nowhere has done a better job than you. If I just look back at what's happened in India over the last 7 or 8 years in each of the thrust areas, it really says something to me in terms of the contribution and your commitment to what finance stands for in Unilever, or what commercial used to stand for. I wish you all the very best. This hopefully isn't a goodbye, this is an au revoir, and we'll be seeing each other in the not too distant future. So have a great evening, Sundaram, and we'll see each other again. Thanks.
I want to join with others in celebrating his achievements. I want to thank Sundaram for his great service to the company. The achievements of the company during your 34 years are extraordinary. The development of the people who have worked with you is exemplary. Your own contribution has been magnificent. Thank you for this, and we wish you the very best in the years to come.
We wish him all the luck, and we'll always look forward to his guidance.
I would wish him all the best in whatever he does.
You've been of great help to all of us, and I wish you all the very best in your future.
So all I can say is Jivet Sharad Shatam.
Those rainy days of presentations and lectures are gone, but in our mind we know they will still live on and on. But how do we thank someone who has taken us from trainees to managers? It isn't easy, but we'll try. If you wanted the sky, we would ride across the sky in letters that would soar 1,000 feet high to serve with love. The time has come for closing books, and long last looks must end. And as you leave, we know that we will miss our best friend, a friend who taught us right from wrong and weak from strong. That's a lot to learn. What can we give you in return? If you wanted the sky, we would ride across the sky in letters that would soar 1,000 feet high to serve with love.
Never was so much owed by so many to just one man, D. Sundaram. This is his story. Years ago, it was in this school in Chennai that a bright young mind was molded to become one of the best CFOs in the history of Hindustan Unilever.
His literary knowledge was known to everyone in the school. All his classmates and friends appreciated him. His language and literature lifted him to so much height. He was personification of humility.
He is highly analytical and a bit serious. And it not only used to win trophies for the school, whenever there are open competitions like Gandhi birthday or Bharatiyar birthday, he used to participate in the higher level competition, compete with the postgraduate students and win trophies also.
It is only because Sundaram's mother, Mrs. Janaki Gammal's vision, sacrifice and determination that Sundaram is what he is today.
Sundaram's love for his alma mater led him to become a messiah for Kellett Higher Secondary School.
I am very happy that I worked when Mr. Sundaram was here as a student. Thereafter, now he is in continuous support to our school. He has done a lot of things for the school.
Sundaram went on to complete his ICWA with a gold medal. After a master's in management studies, he stepped out into the working world. In 1975, Sundaram joined Hindustan Lever, as it was then called, as a management trainee. Young Sundaram made an impression right from the start, with his financial acumen shining through.
I met Sundaram for the first time when we both joined the company in the audit department. He was a young trainee, and even at that time, I saw the giant-sized brain that he had and the perfect gentleman that he was. I remember Sundaram in his white uniform and tikas on his head, and if you see him today, he's a smart, dressed gentleman as if he's come out of the GQ magazine.
3 people had joined, I think, on the same day as trainees, and I saw them all together. Sundaram, Prince, and I think Balaraman, V. Balaraman. And I saw these 3 bushy-tailed young accountants in the lunchroom. And all of them struck me as extremely serious students of accountancy.
Best contribution that came in the initial year was your attempt to build a knowledge foundation in the form of that collegium of commercial managers.
He grew quickly in an organization that recognized talent and capability. As a leader, he commanded respect from his seniors, his peers, and from those working under him.
He is a truly outstanding finance professional. He's of course very well versed in the financial skills, but he goes beyond that. He truly understands how business value can be created and is a great financial manager, financial partner, and in my case, he was the financial director for me in my time at Hindustan Lever and was an invaluable support, especially at a time when we were going through so much change, so much transformation for that great company.
His conceptual skills are outstanding. He knows what accounting is all about. There is no iffiness about what he says. It is black and white when it comes to principles.
Your service to Hindustan Unilever has been magnificent. You've been a great teacher of those of us in finance. You've been a great leader of the finance function. But more importantly, you've been a great leader of Hindustan Unilever.
Sundaram is actually a marketeer at heart. So behind this facade of a chartered accountant, a finance director, he has always been a bit of a closet marketeer.
Some years ago, when our regional director, Chris Jemmett, asked me to second someone as his commercial member in Unilever, I told Chris that I had an absolutely outstanding uncut diamond, which I wanted him to take and polish and send back to us. He took him, he polished him, he sent him back to us. And so profound was his impact on Unilever that he was called there again.
Along the way, Sundaram fell in love with a lovely lady called Geeta, with whom he had two equally lovely daughters, Meenakshi and Janaki.
Geeta is an amazing woman and is a perfect partner to Sundaram. She's loving, she's giving, she's a warm person, full of positive energy. Anytime you talk to Geeta, you feel like the world is a better place, life is fine, things couldn't be better.
He absolutely adores his family. He loves coming back home. The day we met first, that was about 25 years ago, and I was in Kerala, and ours was an arranged marriage. Sundaram came to see me over there, and I had a lot of apprehension about getting married to a person whom I didn't know. He just came into our house and he had this huge smile on his face, which made me very, very comfortable. I'm very, very happy to have been married to him, and he's been a huge support and a pillar of support to me and to my children.
He managed to achieve a perfect work-life balance between his two worlds.
I've heard he has like a really scary reputation at the office, but then it obviously all goes down the drain when he comes home. So he's not scary at all at home.
He doesn't get hassled because he never sort of shares that side with us. So you can tell he's stressed sometimes, and sometimes when we're out for dinner, he has this look like, and he's not really there because he's thinking about something, but he never
discusses it with us like makes us better, like
or lets it
also.
affect anything to do with
Yes.
us. Even if he's traveling or anything, he always makes the time for that. Like he calls home every day. Or when we were growing up in London, when my sister was a baby and I felt sick once, he cancelled his trip to take care of me. So it's just he's always had the time for us, whatever happens.
I just cannot believe that he's head of IT when he types with two fingers like that.
And he has to look at the keyboard every time he types.
And then if
he'll be
you
like,
tell him something like, why are you typing like that, he'll be like, what are you talking about?
Hi Acha, learn to calm down now and play Scrabble with us more. And come visit us in Singapore more.
Yes, I think you will miss me a lot when I'm in Singapore. So when I come on holiday, everything, you are sure be like pampered quite a lot. I'm looking forward to that.
Despite his busy schedules, he always had time for his old friends.
And before he joined Livers, we used to meet almost on a daily basis. So for others, he may be a very reserved person or something. For me, he's a very, very jovial or a very cordial person. And we used to share everything.
During his school days, one of the teachers of Sundaram had told him that viewing a movie was like committing a sin. Sundaram took his teacher's words to heart and vowed not to see any movies at all. It was only in 1970, with great persuasion, I could take him to an English movie, Pattern. After seeing that 70mm movie, Sundaram was totally flabbergasted and has since changed his views.
There was some error in the textbook which was pointed to the lecturer, and the lecturer thought you don't act very smart. Huh? You think you are greater than the author? Then he kept quiet, didn't say anything, wrote to the author, and the author has acknowledged that mistake and thanked him for that. And he said he will correct it in the next edition. And that book he has shown to the lecturer, and you could imagine the reaction which the lecturer would have had it.
In 1999, Sundaram became the CFO of Hindustan Unilever, a post that he held for a record 10 years.
If you want a CFO who really can take care of the engine room without causing you any concern, and yet who can contribute to the improvement of the operations in the engine room, then I think God made Sundaram.
He is indeed a world-class CFO, and he has certainly very, very high ethical values and standards. He is one who is extremely comfortable in dealing with issues on first principles, doesn't look for a precedent necessarily. He is willing to hold himself accountable for the decisions that he takes. That shows the measure of self-confidence that he has.
He was often perceived to be tough, maybe difficult, but we found him extremely practical, reasonable, and frankly, very down to earth.
I've known Sundaram to be extremely meticulous. He has an eye for detail, and he has this very uncanny ability of being able to put things into perspective.
There are many factors which make him stand apart from any other leader that I know.
His thought leadership. He's very wise, he's very rigorous and disciplined, and yet can be quite challenging and demanding.
He was an imposing personality, big man in his profession, and we were always a lot, and I still am actually, in awe of him.
You know, I am by birth a Banya, but he is more Banya than me. And as a CFO, I would imagine that the person who is holding on to cash of the company in this economic condition, I think the best CFO in my mind.
His contribution, I can highlight several contributions, his reward, the best CFO reward, how he has shaped the finance team. But everything, every praise that we talk about his contribution, it will be far, far less.
Sundaram had become something of a legend thanks to his unparalleled achievements at Hindustan Unilever.
Over the last 10 years, with Mr. Sundaram at the helm, has been a great journey on creation of IT capability for HUL.
First and foremost, I think he put investor relations in HLL on a world-class scale. His second achievement is again in the area of information technology. He changed the mindset of information technology in the company from being a mere service provider to becoming a true business partner.
He has many firsts to his credit. He has pulled Hindustan Lever out of the fire on several occasions, whether it was the umbrella fiasco which we had in our exports to Russia or the transfer of our Vanaspati business. Sundaram and I worked on the first ever acquisition, to the best of my knowledge, in the Indian diaspora. We transferred our Vanaspati business to our sister company, Lipton's.
He's also a guy with a terrific sense of humor and can say something in ironic one-liners which can capture the entire spirit of an issue. A couple of weeks ago, I asked him, I said, what's a good place to invest your money? Where do you get a good return? And he said, you know what, Vindi, at this point in time, don't look for a return on your capital, look for a return of your capital.
All along, Sundaram had a passion for teaching, which he used to develop people's potential in the boardroom as well as in the classroom.
He really invests time to take care of people, to develop people.
What I really loved about Sundaram is his challenge. He would push you every time to give your best.
Sundaram also taught at management schools and became their beloved Sir.
The simplicity with which he taught and the depth with which he taught attracted people to the class.
Professor Sundaram's lectures was the only one in finance that I didn't want to ever bunk because they were so much fun.
One of the most unassuming professors who taught me the very basics of accounts, finance and costing.
Your smile has always stayed with us. I remember that. When we entered the class, you always had this big smile when you opened it. And you always started with a question. So here's one for you. What's the difference between a tree?
Even his favorite movies were focused on teaching, coaching, and developing people. Sundaram puts his people and their concerns before anything else. His innate humaneness led him to help out anybody who came to him with a problem.
Honest to a core, is very truthful. So honesty, ethics, truthfulness are some of his core values, and he would not compromise with them at any cost.
He is, like some of my favorite professors, very caring, nurturing and accessible.
जब मेरी लड़की बीमार थी, वाडिया हॉस्पिटल में इतने स्पेशलिस्ट डॉक्टर्स वगैरह दिखाए, लेकिन मेरी लड़की ठीक नहीं हो रही थी. जब साहब को पता चला तो तुरंत उन्होंने कमाल हॉस्पिटल में उनके सब मेडिकल टेस्ट करवाए, स्पेशल डॉक्टर से उनसे सब अपना टेस्ट वगैरह करवाए और मेरी लड़की को एकदम ठीक कर दिया.
मेरा गया साल में तबीयत ठीक नहीं था, तभी उन्होंने मुझे मुंबई से गांव में फ़ोन किया और वहां से मुंबई बुलाया और बड़े डॉक्टर के पास ट्रीटमेंट की.
Sundaram, you're leaving behind a rich legacy of people on whom you have left indelible imprints. We have been deeply inspired by you and vow to carry on your good work. The entire Hindustan Unilever family would like to wish you success, happiness and prosperity as we look forward to yet another trailblazing journey.
I wish Sundaram, Geeta and their family a very happy time.
Sundaram, we will all, and I personally will miss you for all that you have done. You've been a friend, philosopher and guide.
Keep active, be healthy and keep smiling.
Today, on the day of your retirement, I say this is a real loss to Hindustan Unilever. You are one of the most outstanding accountants I have come across internationally.
It was a great home run, and I wish you good fortune and great success in whatever you undertake, and you always know that you have a home in Bangalore.
And we wish you the very best in the years to come.